welcome back to the GorillaBiker. So today is a take 2 video I tried to record earlier this week. But as we come into Cardo, anyway, let me finish off that story. So thanks to the duo Guestone Lane on YouTube, I am now the proud owner of 2 Purple Panda mics, because for some reason Purple Panda don't deliver to Ireland, even though they deliver to the UK, which is not pretty far away at all. So you should probably sort that out, Purple Panda. It doesn't make sense at all, like, not even a little. But yes, Guestone Lane were kind enough to forward me the 2 mics, so go over, tell them I sent you, and tell them I say thanks as well. But what we're doing today as we go through this nice little town of Cardo, I want to talk about a pretty serious, not serious like that subject, but a subject that isn't exactly a cheerful subject, we shall say. Oh, I see the blues and reds. What's going on up ahead? Don't kill me, thanks. Yeah, you knew you were on camera. You look embarrassed now. Ooh, nice old Merc. Cool. But yes, what I want to talk about is we're going to a monument, I suppose I should start, called Kindred Spirits. It is a cool little town, isn't it? That is a really nice Merc 500 SEC. Lovely car, lovely car. But the monument we're going to, Kindred Spirits, was commissioned, I suppose you call it, isn't it? That's what you commissioned something like that, an art piece. And it was built to commemorate the Choctaw people donating money to the people of Ireland in 1847, which is also known as Black 47. And they donated $170 at the time, which at the time wasn't small money. It was like thousands of dollars in today's money. And the thing is, they really couldn't afford it at the time, and I'll go through why now in a second. But first I want to talk about 1847 in Ireland and why it was called Black 47. So Ireland at the time was in the grip of, it's commonly referred to as the Irish potato famine in other countries, as I've heard it, but to Irish people, it was just the famine. So basically, there was a potato blight, and at the time, the common people of Ireland, we'll call them, your average Joes like myself and lots of others, their staple food, the main part of their diet was made up of potato. So obviously a potato blight was absolutely devastating to the people back then. And it's not that there was a lack of other food being grown in the country, but it was being grown in the country and shipped elsewhere by the people we were occupied by back then. I won't get into it because I don't really want to, because I don't know enough. I'm not accurate enough in my history to talk about it. Kaz Awaki, if you would be so kind to do a video giving a bit of detail on the famine, that'd be great. But anyway, needless to say, the average person kind of didn't have many options. They could either starve or they could go work in workhouses basically to get a bowl of gruel essentially as payment for their work. As you know, lots of other food is shipped out of the country. But again, we won't get into that, and you know, I'm not sore about it, I am, but we won't talk about it. And oftentimes in those workhouses, people are just worked to death anyway, so it was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And if you were caught robbing food, you'd be put to death, you know, or shipped off somewhere else to be worked to death, etc. It wasn't a good time. And that is kind of why the Choctaw people donated money. So again, $170, not a small amount at the time. And in the year 1847, also known as Black 47, which was the worst year of the famine in Ireland, or is historically recognised as the worst year. But at the time, I think there was about 1 million people starving to death. And by the way, during the course of the famine, an estimated 1 million people did die when the population of the country was about 8 million. So you can imagine that is a pretty horrific record, and it's an embarrassing point in history, I think, for everyone involved who, you know, could have helped and didn't, and shouldn't be remembered fondly in any way, shape, or form. That stuff shouldn't happen. I don't care where you're from, what your beliefs are, who you are. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You should never be left. 1 million people should never be left starved to death. But they also estimate that the country's population dropped by about 20-25%. Obviously, partly due to the starvation, but also due to being, you know, immigration. So people tried to escape to America to not starve to death and seek a better life, and they went on ships that were called coffin ships. I'll let you do the math there. They weren't exactly the safest. And, you know, obviously then there was people who were trying to steal, we'll call it, food to feed themselves and their families so they didn't starve to death, and they'd be either, you know, put to work somewhere or shipped off somewhere else, and possibly also wouldn't make it. So like I said, a bad time, and all of my details might not be 100% million percent correct because I'm not a historian, and if I have gotten anything slightly wrong, I do apologise, but that's the gist of it. I.e., a lot of people died due to starvation. Hi, cows. Well, that felt like a friendly one. And that just shouldn't have happened. It just shouldn't happen. So, there you go. But the Kindred Spirits Memorial is due to that. But why is it that there's a memorial there? You know, why is it that $170 meant as much as it did? And you have to look a little bit further back, and not much further back, for another embarrassing point in history, which is referred to as the Trail of Tears. So this was the 1830s, was the bulk of it. I think it officially was stopped in the 1850s, or 1850. But the Trail of Tears is where a lot of Native American families or tribes, or whatever the correct term is for those people, they were forcibly displaced from their homes, from their traditional homes, their hereditary homes. And if you know anything about Native American culture and history, they put a huge amount of importance in the land and you know, where they are, and the historical significance of that. So again, not great displacing them, number one. Even if you gave them a mansion to move into, not that, you know, Native Americans of the time wanted a mansion, most of them didn't anyway. I love Native American culture and history, by the way. It's very, very cool. But anyway, so they were forcibly displaced and had to walk, just want to reiterate that, walk several thousand miles to their new home, if you can call it a home once you're being shoved over there. But what made this so particularly bad is they were made to do it in the middle of what is recognized as one of the worst winters on record. Ooh, no wavy for me from him. What's wrong with people who don't wave? Try this fella. Will he wave? There you go. One dickhead, one non-dickhead. But anyway, so all of these Native American people were forcibly displaced, and, you know, they weren't exactly prepared for it correctly. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to move you, so gather all your belongings and, you know, make sure you're well prepared for this trip, which is going to be in the cold. And, you know, we're not going to move you in the middle of the night and force you out of your homes, and you might possibly end up walking in your bare feet, etc. No, that happened. That happened. American settlers, I'm not actually sure, were they all from one particular group or whatever else, but they all banded together and moved them on. Like I said, in the middle of the night. Some people who didn't have time to gather their belongings, they didn't have time to get ready at all, so elderly and children, a lot of them perished. Like, realistically, I'd call it murder. You know, if you walk someone in the middle of winter in their bare feet and completely unprepared for said trip, it's not like you brought them outside and walked them somewhere. unfortunately, they expired in the cold. That is terrible. No, they were murdered. So again, several thousand people were murdered, in my opinion, on the Trail of Tears. And again, another embarrassing point in history. And by the way, I'm not picking on any country or culture or other people. Every single country, every single people, every single culture has some little bit of embarrassing history that they'd rather not talk about. But here's the thing. We'll wait till we're through this. Why did they paint that on their car? That's weird. It looks stupid. But the thing about embarrassing history is you shouldn't try hide it. You shouldn't try paint over it, because you have to learn from it. If you do something horrifically embarrassing and stupid, you should actually make sure that you talk about it more than the good stuff, because that's the stuff you should learn from. It's not the good stuff you should learn from. It's the really shit stuff. I was planning on bringing you down Main Street Midleton, but no. Sorry. I might do it on the way back. Oh no, it's just as bad. Ugh. I regret my life decisions. Anyway, we're stuck here now, so it is what it is. But while I suffer in this traffic, and all of you just get to see me on the other side of it, all I will say is, if you don't know about the Trail of Tears, you don't know about the famine of the 1840s in Ireland, look them up. Have a read on them. Like I said, they are embarrassing points of history, but that doesn't mean you should shy away from it. You should learn about it. You should recognise the mistakes of the past and try to not repeat them, because that is actually the definition of stupidity. You know, doing the same stupid thing over and over again. Anyway, I'll talk to you on the other side of this traffic. Haha! We have escaped the terrors of the traffic. I'm still overheating though. Look at that old church, it's cool. Churches are cool. Not because of what they represent, they're just cool buildings. But anyway, back to why the Kindred Spirits Monument is so cool. And it's in commemoration of the fact that even after the Trail of Tears, even after all the suffering that, you know, Native American people had been through, the Choctaw people still found it within themselves to raise that money in order to give back to other people who were at the time suffering. I think that's incredible, and I think it speaks a huge amount to the quality of person who would do that. And why am I speaking about this today? Well, currently, obviously, you know, the whole C word is going on, and that has affected a tribe. I think tribe is the correct term, and I apologize if it's not. The Navajo and I believe Hoji or Hovi people were hard hit by, you know, the C word, and they put up a GoFundMe in order to help with trying to you know, curtail it as much as possible, because they have very few hospital beds in their area, etc. So people were suffering, and a lot of there's the monument there, by the way. I'm just going to turn around and park there and go back. But why they are so affected by it is, and it was very interesting because I read an article by one of the Navajo representatives, or well, she was interviewed in this article. It wasn't written by her, I don't believe. But she said that, you know, the elderly people or elders in Native American culture are basically their repositories of knowledge, or their libraries, if you will. So basically, every time one of them passed away for whatever reason, it was a huge hit to them culturally, because maybe some of them had some teachings that no one else had, that they couldn't pass down now because obviously they'd passed away. And that really upset me. To think that history and culture and stuff of a culture which I think is really cool, like I said, could be lost just like that. And this GoFundMe fundraiser, anyway, was started, and they noticed a lot of donations coming from Ireland, and they realised then that some people were paying back what they saw as a debt to the Native American people. So I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to make a video and show you this monument and tell that story a little bit. So that is the Kindred Spirits monument, and what's written on it is, so the Kindred Spirits Choctaw monument, artist Alex Pentek, fair play Alex. So the sculpture of 9 stainless steel feathers acknowledges our thanks to the Choctaw Nation for their kindness to our ancestors during the famine, and Irish on Gortamore, which means the Great Hunger, in 1847. They, only 16 years before, had been dispossessed of their sacred lands and forcibly removed to Oklahoma. They had suffered the Trail of Tears, on which many died, particularly the old and the young, during one of the harshest winters in memory. Yet, on hearing of the suffering of Irish men, women and children, they had the kindness, generosity and greatness of spirit to respond and to help by donating $170, a huge sum at that time. This Choctaw monument is a token of our thanks for their famine gift. In bestowing the Choctaw famine gift, they bestowed a blessing not only on the starving men, women and children of Ireland, but on the whole of humanity, and progressed the evolution of all mankind. Gorav Mila Mila Mahagwiv Yakoke Chito. So there you go. And underneath, if you want any extra information on Midleton, it's www.visitmidleton.ie. The Jameson Distillery is also here, so if you want to see that, I'll pop over to it at the very end of the video and just show you the front gate, because it is closed at the moment. I did check. Sorry, Bri. But there you go. That is the Choctaw Monument. We'll just go into the centre and have a look. 9 stainless steel feathers in the shape of a bowl, like it says. An empty bowl, which is kind of depressing. But there you go. That's it. I think it's really, really cool. Type of design I like, to be quite honest. But there you go. That's it. Also, whatever absolute dickhead left that there and that there, you're dickheads. I hope you see this video, and I hope you know you're a massive, massive, massive group of dickheads. Seriously, like, how many parks are there around you decide to throw litter in it? There's probably a bin over there. Dickheads. So that's it. That is the Kindred Spirits Memorial. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found the history interesting. I know it's not exactly the most nicest history, but it's history, so we need to remember, we need to learn from it. If you watched, thank you very much for watching. Massive thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. You know who you are. There's currently 6 of you, and it still baffles me every single day that honestly there's any there, so thank you very much. If you would like to join the Patreon, you get access to my Discord and early videos if I actually ever get the time to do them early. I don't at the minute, and there's a video coming out explaining why very soon. But until next time, if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Adios. Outro crew, what do you think about the Kindred Spirits Monument? What do you think of me finally having a drone? Let me know the answer to all of these questions in the comments. Bye, outro crew. Ooh, it is a cool building though, I'll give it that. Many of them are. So this is the Jameson Distillery. Now, reopening the 13th of July, but there you go. So, just to go through real quick, and I'm going to get a quick cheeky thumbnail thing if I can with my camera. But that is the old gates, which are cool. And Jameson moved their production. They originally started out in Dublin, but they moved their production down here full time. To be closer to the actual producers of the grain they needed and whatnot, and this is what resulted from that. So obviously you have the old buildings in front of us, but there is also a colossal you know, new industrial distillery in behind it. And I think it's also the location of the world's largest copper pot still, I think. But there you go, and you can go into the door straight in front of us, the Jameson door. If you come down here, in there they do really, really good guided tours, like actually good guided tours, and not one of those self-guided ones like you get in Guinness. Not slagging Guinness, I just think Jameson's tours are better, kind of like the Heineken factory in Amsterdam, if you ever get to go there. Very cool, very worthwhile going to. It's a good.